JT, now that you have time to reflect on the game, just evaluate your performance.
Going through it all, I was happy with it. Coach Graham was, definitely very happy with it. In general, I think we did a lot of good things. Overall, as an offense, I was really happy with us. There was a few small things that, and I talked about it. Execution is something you can clean up. In general, though, I think we did great up front. I think we did a lot of great things in the receiver room, a lot of great things in the running back room. All around, I think we played a good game. I think there's just a few small things you clean up, and the score looks different if you clean them up.
Overall, would you say that's the most you've been hit in a game? No.
Definitely not. No.
No, definitely.
I don't know about definitely not. I never really tracked it. I think if you watch, and it's something that I kind of knew going into the week, the more that teams have hurt Narduzzi from the pocket, the more he has sent 5-6 man pressure more often. That's not something that you see that's not like a O-line thing. If you see me get hit a lot that game, they have a really good front seven and they send 6. That's 6 one-on-one blocks, including your running back. That's, your quarterback's going to take hits. That's kind of him philosophically, and that's something, it's part of my position. It's part of what I got to do.
What's your process for watching film and studying yourself? Do you watch the all 22? Do you watch specific things first, multiple times? How do you go through it?
I'll watch over and mainly go based on decision making and ball placement are the two things that, like, if I watch myself in Self Scout, that I'll look at. I don't watch too much of myself. Like this week, I'm only watching Kansas, right? So I'll watch through it after the game, probably the day after, and then after that, I won't think about it again until the season's over.
What does it take inside you to take a big hit and bounce back and play the next play and not look what's coming at you?
Yeah, you don't really realize. I mean, I've played a lot of football too, so it probably has gotten easier over the years. But things move in general a little too fast to realize it. Like if I'm going through pre-snap and during snap recognition, reads, and the whole process of doing my job, you don't even think about it. Like it doesn't really come to mind. You take a hit, you get back up. I've never once really noticed myself thinking, I got to be ready to leave or ready to move or ready to take a hit.
You just feel it?
Yeah, you typically just feel it.
Sometimes if you get really hard, do you make a point that you aren't going to let them know?
No, I've never. It's like you really don't think twice about it. There was definitely a few shots I took, but you'd get back up unless you're like severely hurt, which I didn't take anything that I was hurt from. So you just get back up and keep going. You got too much adrenaline. You got a lot of pads on. It's pretty hard to hit someone hard enough to take them out.
First game with this receiving core, obviously you practice, but timing, did you feel the timing was good? Is it something that can get better over the course of games?
I think in general it was really good. We had a lot of one-on-one chances. That's a lot of what you see from Pitt's defense. They gave us one-on-ones. I think we did a good job for the most part with our route spacing and detail. I think we did a pretty good job all around with ball placement. I think we capitalized on a lot of big plays, and there was a few that we're just really close on. It's something that gets better, but you're playing against good DBs, throwing a lot of one-on-one deep shots. Of course you'd like to hit every one of them, but 1 out of 3 is typically a good benchmark for any 40-plus long bomb, and I think we were pretty close to that.
He mentioned timing. I mean, you got here late. You're still getting to know the guys. How long does that process take before you feel totally comfortable and say, this is the guy I'm looking for in this situation?
You pretty much know it like the first day, to be honest with you. I've thrown a lot of footballs. I've played with a lot of really good receivers. I have a lot of really good receivers here. The timing thing is, I don't want to say overhyped, but to a certain extent it is. When it's like, oh, a quarterback's never thrown with these receivers before. I mean, you figure it out the first day, right? Like, I know where they're supposed to be at what time. They know where they're supposed to be at what time, and the ball's just got to get there. There's certain nuances you learn the more you play with people, but it's nothing that's like there's a huge learning curve too. Once you've done it enough, you've done it enough.
But you got to trust them. You got to be able to trust where they are.
Yeah, and I do.
Okay.
There's no issues with that. I think they're, you know, I've really never had an issue with receivers that I haven't, than any receiver I've played with, where I've had trust issues of, are they going to be where I need them to be? I just typically trust them and they end up being there.
You now been part of some pretty big rivalry games, USC, UCLA, Alabama, and Georgia, Auburn.
Yeah.
I don't know if you played Notre Dame when you were at USC.
We played
but,
at USC. Yeah.
How did this experience rank up with those?
This is definitely towards the top. The Deep South's the oldest, which is Georgia Auburn. That's a fun one to be at too, especially at Auburn. It gets really loud there. No, it was impressive. That place was rocking. There was, you know, a lot of noise from West Virginia fans, a lot of noise from Pitt fans. It was, you know, rivalry games are always a cool atmosphere, always fun to be around. That was, I would definitely put that up there though.
How do you keep on even feeling that atmosphere?
I've never, it's never been like an issue for me personally. Like I enjoy the overall environment. Like it's really cool to be on the field and, you know, every now and then you try and take it in and, you know, really listen to how loud it is and, you know, hear people yelling your name and, you know, some fun stuff. But in general, it's not like it goes back to what I said earlier. There's just so much going on and so much I'm focused on. It doesn't really creep into your mind that much.
JT, you said after the game you enjoy, I guess, a road atmosphere, opposing fans yelling at you. Have you always been that way? Is that something that you developed, that sort of competitive spirit in time?
I've probably gotten better at handling it the older I've gotten. In general, though, like it's cool. You know, if you ever get to be on the field, especially if you're someone playing in the game, like there's only so many times you get to play in front of that many people that are that loud and that passionate. I think it's what makes college football so cool. I talked about it after the game. You know, the environment of like an away student section being right in front of them it's surreal your first few times, and after that you just enjoy it, you know, for what it is.
You play a rivalry game, you fall short. What's the challenge this week for you guys?
What do you mean by challenge this week?
Well, you got a conference opener, you got an important game early in the season. You've got, you know, maybe some young guys maybe a little disappointed with the performance. What's the challenge for you as a quarterback, as a guy that's got to get a team rallied to win a conference game?
It's something that's impressive in this team that I think matters a lot is as soon as like you watch the final play at Pitt, that's the last you talk about them. Nobody that I haven't seen anybody that's, you know, in low spirits or thinking about last week. You put it to bed and you move on. There's always a potential for a challenge in me to get guys focused on this week, but it is not a challenge that has presented itself. Guys are locked in on Kansas and ready to play Kansas.
JT, how much leeway do you have, or how much does Graham let you do as far as kind of checking into things, just, you know, trusting what you know and trusting what he knows that you know about the offense?
Yeah, I think a lot if I really wanted to. A good thing with the system is we generally have answers in all scenarios. There are things that we talk about during the week that I will check versus specific looks. And I have full control over protection. But in general, like if I really wanted to do something, like both touchdowns to Bryce were signals. Both of those were changed Bryce's route. In general, I think he's all for it. He lets, you know, he definitely allows for me to do, what I can within the system. But for the most part, kind of like I said, there's a lot of answers that we have built in on every single play in our whole offense. It's one of the great things of this offense, the reason why I've always liked it and wanted to play for it again. So I don't have to in a lot of scenarios, but if I ever need to, and there's a good amount of freedom I have to do that.
Why did you make those calls on Bryce's play, especially after that long run where that happened pretty quickly?
Yeah. First one, you break off an explosive, and we had not been explosive up to that point. There's like a big momentum swing that you get, and everybody on the offense feels it. We know they play a lot of press man, and I don't think anybody can press Bryce or KP. So if I get a chance where I know it's one-on-one, that's about as good. It's as good a situation as I could ask for, and it's really the same thing on the second fade to Bryce. Is if I know if I'm very confident it's going to be a press man one-on-one throw, I'll live and die by Bryce winning one-on-ones.
Feel odd, maybe a good odd, being back with Graham Harrell, being in the meeting room again with him. You think back to the first times you were with him, and what's it like again?
There's no oddity to it. Or no, there never was. Me and Graham have always had a great relationship, and there was never like thinking twice about it. I don't remember where I was when I was asked, like, what was it? What did Graham have any effect on you choosing West Virginia? And it's like, yeah, huge effect. That was, when you hit the portal, you get a bunch of texts from a bunch of new numbers. Just because coaches now have your number, anybody that wants you to text, you can text you. And I got a text from Graham. Told me he's at West Virginia now, so West Virginia was the top 3 choice without knowing anything about West Virginia at the time.
Do you like your OC up top?
In the box, I've
Yeah.
never had an OC elsewhere.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
A lot of times these days, the OC likes to be on the field because the camera's on him.
Oh, really? Monken was always in the box.
Yeah.
T was always in the box.
So you've always had that.
I've always had him in the box. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever even like really talked to my offensive coordinator mid-game. Because I usually just like right here, it's Stu, Stanton, and Matt Cav are 2 guys on the sideline. Like if I want to tell something to Graham, I'll tell something to Graham, or if Graham needs to tell me something, they'll tell me something. And it was the same way at Georgia when I was in. They would tell me to tell Stet something, or they would tell Stet to tell me something when I was in.
Of course, up top you can see things.
Like if I was offensive coordinator, I would be up top 100%.
Right.
I would not want the sideline view. I'd want the above view.
Right.
Graham the same as he was 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah, he was.
System the same?
So very similar. Yeah, we there's a few new things here and there, things we've taken out, things we've added, but I think he has like an extensive background in what he does, and based on the team and what he thinks is best for us is like what's in for the week and how we're gonna what we're gonna go with. But yeah, the core philosophy stays the same.
What about scripting? Big script to start with, or do you get off it pretty fast?
That's a question for him. Actually, I don't know how he goes on that. I don't know if he like scripts 20 plays, or I've never asked the offensive coordinator if they do that actually. I think we kind of played by ear.
Tell me how you saw the last pass to Reese developing from the start.
Okay, so Pitt on long situations either was a zone pressure team, so 5-6 man pressure, usually 3 deep if they were zone pressure, or on long situations like 3rd and long, they like 2 man. They played as 2 man, so I was going based off, like as soon as I'd snap the ball, I was going based on, am I going to have to get this out and throw it up to Bryce or KP, or is it going to be 2 man, I'm going to play off the safety. 2 man, they end up being 2 man, play off the field safety. He widens too far off the hash, so I know Reese is in a one-on-one with a guy that can't see the ball that's looking at Reese. I put it in a pretty good spot for where I wanted it to. I wish I was 5 to 6 inches higher, because you don't have too much space. Like if you throw Reese a ball right here on that, you give too much time and too much possibility for that ball to get knocked out. You need to throw either a back shoulder to Reese or a diving low ball. I wish I was 6 inches higher, and I think it would have been a safe catch. But I love the call. Play 2-on-1 off the safety. Reese ran a great route. Bryce did a great job pulling safety away. We were just this close.